What's up, my friends? As the summer draws to a close and we make our way into fall, we're also now entering that end of year push. You know the one I mean. As the days start to get shorter, the end of the year is suddenly fast approaching. We start thinking about everything we wanted to accomplish during the year, and as things start to speed up, we might start to feel overwhelmed with everything we still have left to do in order to finish 2023 with a bang. I feel the same way. So in this video, I'm going to break down exactly how I'm doing a reset of my life and how making a plan to create as many wins as possible in these last few months of 2023. First things first, we can't know where we're going without knowing where we've been. So the first thing we're going to do is get a clear picture of exactly what has happened so far in 2023. I'm a scientist, so I like to think of this process as collecting data so we can analyze that data and make educated decisions based on it. So let's take out our notebooks and draw a line down the middle of the page to make two columns. At the top of the first column, I'm going to write positives, and in the other column, I'm writing negatives. And now I'm going to do a brain dump of everything that's happened so far in 2023 and add it to each of these two columns. Now, for some people, it will be pretty easy to think of things to write in each column. For me, a few things immediately come to mind. One major success I've had this year is that I've cut back on drinking alcohol by about 90%. I also recently got back from my solo trip to Norway, which was definitely a positive. During the trip, I completed my first ever massive hike to the famous Pulpit Rock, which took me up 1,600 feet of elevation gain over 5 hours round trip. I've also lost 15 pounds so far this year, which was less than I wanted, but still, 15 pounds is pretty awesome, so that's going to be a positive. For negatives, I had hoped to pay off all my student loans before the repayment started again, but I do still have some left. I'm also still majorly addicted to caffeine, which I see as a negative. I also moved into a new apartment this year, which, although is less expensive, allowing me to save more money each month, I don't love the space or the neighborhood as much as I had hoped. So I'm going to put saving money on new apartment in the positive column and don't love new apartment in the negative column. Like many things in life, things can have both positive and negative aspects, so feel free to put the same thing down in both columns. For most people, a few things will immediately come to mind when we think about what's happened so far in 2023. But 9 months is a long time, and there are probably some things we've forgotten. So what I like to do is open up my phone and look through all the pictures I've taken to help jog my memory. This is always so fun, because so often we take tons of pictures, but then never actually go back to look at them. Try not to spend too much time on this, because it's really easy to get lost in taking pictures and looking at pictures, and then hours have gone by. Take some time to look through your pictures, though, to remember what's happened in 2023 and add some things to your list. For me, I found a bunch of pictures of healthy new meals that I've cooked from scratch. Seeing the pictures reminded me that I've been doing a great job of cooking healthy and creative meals from scratch over the last few months. Now it's a habit, and I don't really think about it, but it still deserves to be on the list for sure. I'm seeing some pictures of myself hanging out with new friends I've made. One of my goals in 2023 was to make more friends, so that's going on the positive column. I also found a picture of a parking ticket I got earlier this year. I had actually completely forgotten about that until now. But at the time, I was super upset about it, so that's going on the negative list for sure. Now that we've created our snapshot for the first part of 2023, let's take a minute to analyze this data and get complete with it. We want to bask in gratitude for the positive things that have happened and get emotionally complete with all the negative things so that we can create a feeling of completion around everything that's happened and move forward to the end of the year without any emotional baggage. First, the positives list. Looking at the things on this list, I'm really grateful and proud of myself for everything I've accomplished. Never in my wildest dreams did I see myself climbing to the top of a cliff that is higher up than the Empire State Building. I'm really proud of myself for doing that. Also, I used to really struggle with ordering too much DoorDash and never cooking at home. So the fact that I have now formed a habit of cooking at home more, so much that I forgot to list it as an accomplishment until I saw the pictures of it, is pretty cool. So take some time to bask in how awesome you are to have completed these things, and think about how much better your life is, thanks to what you've accomplished. I feel like it's so easy to always focus on what's next, and how can we improve further, that we can forget to be grateful for the things that we do accomplish. Once you're done with the positive list, let's move on to the negatives. For this list, there are going to be two types of things there. Things that you can control and improve upon, and things that you cannot. For the things that you cannot control, that are now in the past, I'm going to think about them, and that if they still have any emotional pull on me, I'm going to get as emotionally complete as possible and let them go. These are things like getting a parking ticket, going through a breakup, and losing a job. I no longer have any control over these things, so the best thing I can do is to stop letting them live rent-free in my head. Next, let's turn our attention to the negatives that we can control and that we can improve upon. For me, these would be my student loan debt situation, my addiction to caffeine, and the fact that I don't love my apartment. These are all things that I could focus on improving during the rest of the year if I choose to. So instead of feeling bad about these things, I'm going to feel glad that I've identified some of the things to focus on during the rest of the year. And with those steps, it's time to say goodbye to the first part of 2023, and we're ready to plan our 2023 grand finale with a blank slate. I love that phrase, the grand finale for the year. For me, what that means is that we only have 3 months left in the year, so we can intensely focus on a few main goals to end the year with a big win. But the reality is, we can't focus on everything at once. And if we try to intensely focus on too many things at the same time, we'll quickly get burnt out and end up finishing none of them. So I'm going to challenge you to identify 1 or 2 goals that you want to achieve between now and the end of the year. That's it, 1 or 2. The reason we're limiting it to 1 or 2 is to enable us to dedicate our time, focus, and energy to just these 1 or 2 things, which will create intensity so that we can amplify our results. To give an example of this, let's say my goal is to pay down student loans between now and the end of the year. If my goal is to have balance, I will probably pay the minimums on that loan every month, maybe a little bit extra, but my results aren't going to be that exciting. But if I commit to going all in on this goal of paying down my student loans, I'm going to focus intensely on it. I'll probably cut back on spending in other areas of my life and put that spending toward the principal on the loan instead. Instead of relaxing in the evenings, I'm probably going to pick up a side hustle so I can create extra dollars to put toward the loan. And then at the end of the year, just mathematically, I'll have a better result thanks to my short period of intense focus. So that's why we're picking 1 or 2 goals so that we can dedicate the time and energy needed to go all out on that goal. So for me, one of my goals, as you may have guessed, is to pay down that student loan as much as possible. My other goal is to lose 15 pounds between now and the end of the year. These are both goals that require my focus and time, but they're both totally achievable with intense focus. So now that we have our 2 goals, that will be the grand finale of 2023. The next thing we're going to do is brain dump how we're going to get there. Look at your 1 to 2 goals and write down everything you can possibly think of for how to get there. This is a chance to be creative. And maybe you don't know exactly how you're going to get there, or you have some concerns about things that might get in the way of reaching your goals. We're going to write all of that down, the good, the bad, and the ugly. So let's start with one of mine as an example. So thinking about all the things I could possibly do to lose 15 pounds before the end of the year, I'm going to do a brain dump. So as I'm doing my brain dump, I'm going to write down some of the obvious things, like strength training 2 to 3 times a week, getting 10,000 steps per day, eating a maximum of 1,500 calories per day, and getting 8 hours of sleep a night. Hiring a personal trainer also comes to mind, as well as getting a massage once a month. I'm not actually sure how much a personal trainer costs, or if that would be too expensive for me right now since I'm also doing the student loan thing, but it's going on the list anyway, because this is a time for brainstorming, not for judging. I'm also writing down some of my concerns around this goal, like hanging out with certain people who I tend to overeat around, or getting too busy with work to work out. Whatever it is, it's going on the list. So now I'm going to go through my big list of things to help me get to my goals, and I'm going to pick 4 or 5 of them that when implemented consistently will get me to my goals. These can be things to do or things to stop doing, but they should be things that when done consistently will help me get concrete progress toward my grand finale. So here's what my action items are. In order to lose 15 pounds and reduce my student loan debt before the end of the year. And those are the things I'm going to focus on for the rest of the year. That's it. Everything else I'm going to put on autopilot, like my social life, my French lessons, and my other goals and commitments. I'm not going to stop doing these things, but I'm going to continue doing them with balance, so I can intentionally create imbalance around my weight loss and student loans for the next 3 months. And this is exactly how I'm going to create my epic grand finale for 2023. Let me know in the comments what you are focused on for the end of the year so that we can all support each other as we work toward our goals. If you enjoyed this video and my step-by-step tutorial for finishing off 2023 with a bang, You might also like this other tutorial I made about exactly how I plan my day. So check out that video if you're interested. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.